Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, Gus? Hello from Spain. Nice to. Thank you for joining. I'm just picking out some pencils. So, 1 second. Yeah, headset. Hey, what's up, Davey? Hey, David. Hola. Happy to have you. Hey, what's up, Psycho? Greetings from Ghana. Oh, nice to meet you. Hey. Thanks for showing up. Let me just color penciling. You ever erase while using color? You can pull some off if you make a mistake. The trick is to kind of like move lightly over layers. So if you do like nick something, sometimes the eraser can bring it off. If not, it's fine. Just wait till you're all done. And then if you still notice where you messed up, then you can do it. And get some white out or something. But not, I mean, other than just like taking all, you can. It's oil. It's oil or wax based. It can only come off so much. So once you lay it down, it's down there. More or less. This dude's wearing mostly bandages, so it's a lot of little light colors. It's some browns, it's some blues, it's some greens, it's some pinks. It's just like a lot of little fluctuating colors kind of mixing together. This is a color that the camera won't pick up as much, but it's a very faint green I'll throw in. That will kind of like blend in a little bit. And this is one of those ones, man. Like I said, like a lot of this is hard for the camera to pick up, but when you see it up close, you're like, man, look at all that. Like it does work. Like it blends together. It's one of the reasons why I was hesitant to even stream this because of that reason. One second, but whatevs. Hey, what up?
Well, SSD do. This time I'm silencing my phone now.
Bah, bah, ba-da-da.
Well, I mean, I had the Metal Gear codec for literally years as my ringtone. At one point, I had the Game Victory from Final Fantasy.
Pretty good.
And that was before I saw Advent Children.
The only way to watch Advent Children is to turn on the Japanese, turn off the subtitles, and just let it play on a loop.
Yes.
I, it's funny. I was listening to that Rob Granito because he put the early up for the Patreons. Roman for the Patreons, he puts up the audio early, right?
Right.
So I was listening to it. It was funny because one of the things that Granito did was he would tell people he was like, I was a fill-in or uncredited something. And clever because how can you check that, right?
Yeah. Also, the major companies do use a lot of uncredited work.
Well, I could tell you some uncredited work I did.
No, same with
That so like I did uncredited storyboards on the Turtles cartoon from 2004. And
no.
so
That's
what
far
happened
more badass than anything I've ever done uncredited. So
yeah, so what happened was it was 2005 actually. So I think it was the Warcraft episode where they were spoofing Warcraft just based on the storyboards. I
yeah.
didn't draw the characters, I did the backgrounds. So what happened was is my buddy was working at the t-shirt company I wanted to
Mhm.
get in on. And at the time, I was working at UCSD's copy shop. I went from Kinko's to this because I was like, oh, this will be a union job. And I was just going to stay there and draw my own comics and collect a
Right.
pension one day. Um, it became clear to me that when I got there that they weren't actually in the union. Like they were and weren't. It was a little weird. So
Yeah, this
they also
union
fucked
is
me on
like
my
union.
pay. Yeah,
So
they
that's
also fucked me on my pay. I don't want to get into it. But anyway, so my buddy, he worked at the teacher company. They had the license for the turtles, and he made friends with the licensor and showed him his portfolio. And they said, "Hey, would you like to do cleanup on storyboards?" He's like, "Of course." This guy I went to college with, and so I was still in school. He wasn't. It's funny. So he, what they do is the storyboards on those cartoons were done on little post-its, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Basically, like stick figures. Like one guy figured out the whole episode and posted them up along with whatever instructions are for the animators. And but they had to be put on model. Like the turtles need to be drawn in, the backgrounds need to be drawn, and they sent like a fucking giant stack of this shit. And my buddy was not even to this day. I mean, he's a studious dude, but he's not like me in terms of like I will just work on that until I bleed and it be done. So he put off, he slacked, and it was a weekend Advent Children came out. He goes, "Hey man, it was a Friday." He goes, "These are due Monday. Like I need help, you know."
Yeah.
And so I was like, "I'll come over. We'll pull a weekender, you know." But I just wanted to trade a trade off. Like, could you show my portfolio to your art director at the t-shirt company? He's like, "Sure." Which, in hindsight, I should have just fucking hit him up on my own. But whatever. I was helping a
Yep.
buddy out. So he got the Advent Children DVD, and we had it on a loop, just the Japanese with the music, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
jazzy. And we were just I to this day I couldn't tell you what the story is because I was like he's like it's not worth it, and I'm like I'd
Okay.
take your word for it,
Most
you
people
know?
can't tell you what the story is.
Yeah. So,
But it's
but
really pretty.
which was fucked. So when I came to graduate, because I graduated like college, I don't know, about 6 months later, 8 months later.
Hmm.
I was in this portfolio class and like you got to put in portfolio, and I put in these storyboards. I'm like, I did this, and they're like, all right, well, where would you like? I'm like, well, it's uncredited, but I did the background. That doesn't count. I'm like,
Yeah, it does.
look, you have to understand. You
Oh
know what
no,
I
I get
mean?
it.
Like this
I
school
get it.
didn't like me. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't leaning on the school for any help. I'm like, you provide no help. And any win I got was always at like their expense. I was like, yeah, fuck you guys. So like they wouldn't let me use those so I had to go and dig up a bunch of other fucking shit, like to get through this portfolio class. And I was like, I was busy doing real world work, man.
Hmm.
Like, but suffice to say, I ended up getting I went above that teacher's head and got what do you call it? I got a waiver on the class, given that I was already working in a t-shirt company full time.
That works.
And he was pissed. He's like, "You got to get through me to get out of this school." I'm like, "No, I got a waiver. Peace. I'm out." Yeah. And I don't like being that guy, but just I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, look, I can be a little like I don't know. I can be a little.
You can be
hmm.
robbed.
No, what it is I have a mission, and when people
Yeah.
get in the way of my mission, I'm not very like courteous about it. Like I'll leave you alone. I'll be here to support whatever you need. But if you're like actively like, no, that isn't what you're gonna do. You're gonna do this, and I'm like, but the class says it's this, so I'm gonna do that. No, you're gonna do this. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. I had this class. It said advanced storyboarding, right?
Hmm.
I was like, perfect. I got in there. It turned out to be an advanced animation class. Now I was done with 2D animating, hand drawn. I was like, I never want to do this again. What is this? And they're like, oh, see, we couldn't have another animation class, so we created this class to have more advanced animation. I'm like, but it's called storyboarding.
Yeah,
And
that's
there was
not
no other class
education.
yet. And there was no other class I could take to get out. I'm my final semester there. This is just one of the many issues I had my last semester there. And I was like, and I'm like, well, look, I'm doing storyboards. It says advanced storyboarding. I would not have taken this had I known it was an animation class, and there's no other class for me to take in this time slot. So like, you can't go around creating classes. Right? Oh, some of my nuts on this one. Like,
No, no, that
I
would
mean, you
never
went to
apply.
like a real college. It'd be weird if it said it was like, brains, fucking, I don't know, physics, and you get in there and they're cooking. Like, I don't know. It'd be fucking
Yeah.
weird.
If I went
You know?
into was it? I took a an elective course in evolutionary biology, and if I had walked in there and it was paleontology, that would have been like, wait, what? Yes, they're
Imagine if it
loose.
was
But wait,
advanced
what? No.
paleontology, you know? Like,
Yeah.
so it was just shit like that. And they would drive me nuts. Like, they would make me think, they'd gaslight me, make me think I'm nuts and shit. I'm like, look, I can be nuts. Fine, I'm nuts. I'm the crazy one, but I'm not doing this shit. Like, you kiss
I
my fucking
mean,
ass.
but yeah,
I'm still angry about it.
that's the type of thing that if I was going to deal with it, it'd be like, no, just no.
Yeah, I haven't let it go.
But I don't blame you because that's bullshit. There's a reason
Mhm.
why the art institutes aren't around anymore.
Yeah, they're a crock of fucking shit. But so when I just brought it back a flood of memories when I was hearing it, I was like, uncredited. It's funny. I'm like, that stuff does exist,
Oh yeah,
but like, I
every
can at least
flower.
say, well, and I couldn't tell you what episode, what was it? I think it was a word. I just don't know because it was so much work so fast that I also quickly deleted it
Yeah,
from my. And when they
yeah,
said I couldn't use it, I just threw away the fucking art. I was like, well, if I can't use this in a portfolio, what's the fucking point? Like, like my
yeah.
references and stuff. My buddy had it, so he sent me the stuff, and I just chucked it in the bin. I was like, well, if I can't use this in my portfolio, then what's the fucking point?
No, I see where you go with that. You felt like you got burned, and honestly,
Yeah.
you did. I mean, that's bullshit.
But I
Uh,
did do cleanup work, unpaid cleanup, to save my friend's fucking ass, you know.
yeah. Well, I've done paid uncredited work, and I don't care as long as the check cashes. Uh, but
It's fine. I mean, he just that's why it's funny when people go, you're really more of a, and then people would tell me, you're more of a character artist than backgrounds. I'm like, no, see, I'm actually not. You're like, I'm actually a background artist. What happened is no one gives two fucking shits about the backgrounds. Like they're necessary, but they don't get any fucking attention. So I had to go and learn all the figure work and get really good at figures. Like, but it was funny. It was just like, all right, you want me to draw a background? You've seen how I am with perspective. You think I can't fucking draw a background? Which one do you want?
Your background work is amazing. The stuff I've seen it. Just when you're doing like your digi landscape stuff from years ago, that stuff is
Oh,
gorgeous.
those weren't even like nothing. But like, I
I'm
mean,
just saying. I'm
it's
using
just,
an example.
I know. But like, it was just
Say I'm
funny,
crazy,
Like, so
Rob.
some of you folks out there, like, people will get to you. They'll try to get to you. They'll try to get to you. But yeah, like that dude using that excuse is great. I think I saw Granito at the 2007 Wizard World. They were
I
catering
know I
me
saw
at a
it.
time like that. Not Garib Seamus, but the other Seamus dude. There's another Seamus. He was like the
Yeah.
head of like the outreach, and he had hit
Mhm.
me up and was like, right. I think when the Granito shit was going down in 2011, he was like, "We'll fly you out to no, and I was like, "Yeah, that's great. Only I got a day job and I can't go anywhere, so it's not gonna happen." Thanks now. Could have used you 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So, but that was the last time. It was like right before they kind of went under. But I told him I was like, "So he hit me up. You must be hard up." Like, if you found my corner of the internet, you've run out of options. Like,
Yep. I was at the one and only, the first and only Wizard World Boston. That kind of was a clusterfuck, but
life hack the characters in the background. Mega Mario always got the wise puns. Yeah, yeah. The first convention I ever paid to go to in Artist Alley was the 2004 Wizard World in Long Beach. They set me next to who was I next to? To my right was the Red Star guy. Remember that dude?
oh yeah,
And he had just come back from New Zealand because I guess he worked on Lord of the Rings shit out there with Weta.
yeah.
And then to the left of me, I think it was Therese Nielsen, but don't quote me on that. It was one of those like mad. Yeah, it was Therese Nielsen was to the left of me. T Nielsen, which stands for Therese, which my buddy didn't know because he was like, T Nielsen, when's he getting here? And I told him, look, you're not used to this, but when you go to cons, make sure you read people's badges
Yeah.
before you talk to them. And he didn't listen to me, you know? And so he's like, T Nielsen, where is he? And she's like, that's me. And I was like, you fucking. Because right when he started talking to her, I looked at her badge and I'm like, I said, Therese Neal. And then he was like, where's T Neal? And I walked away. I'm like, have fun. You know? Idiot.
Oh
She turned out
god.
to be a little bit of a right winger, though. So
Hmm.
did not know.
Oh
Yeah, I
well.
know. Right? So, oh
Yeah.
well. I don't feel too bad about it now. But
Oh
you know,
god. What was it? Looking up her name, the first person I was with. I can remember the first name. Melissa Bennett. That was the first artist I was sat next to in an artist alley. I can't even remember the name of the con, but it was an anime con.
I don't
It was
know
up
who
in Vermont.
Melissa Bennett is.
She did art for Magic the Gathering on the first run of
Oh, magic
cards.
artist. Okay.
And the other person that I sat by on one of my first cons was Phil Foglio.
Who?
Phil Foglio?
Refresh my memory on that one.
He does a webcomic right now. It's a steampunk webcomic. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me right now. It's stuck in my head.
Not
But
familiar.
he's huge in gaming and stuff like that. Like he did Phil and Dixie. He did the porn card game Xeno something.
Never heard of it.
He oh, if you saw his art, you'd know it.
All right.
But
Probably.
he
I
also
don't
did a
play
lot
a
of
lot.
work on Magic the Gathering, and him and his wife Kaya would do a lot of work together on things. She's an amazing
Oh,
artist
nice.
as well.
Yeah, the magic artist I'm not really familiar with. It's not my thing.
Yeah, he's a D&D artist when it came down to it
All
with
right.
stuff. That's where he kind of got started, like with cartoony D&D type things.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Yeah, Studio Foglio. That name of that comic's is gonna annoy the shit out of me until I can remember it. Xenophile, Girl Genius. That's the one that his big thing is. But
Don't know.
yeah, Xenophile's a comic book and card game that is basically porno card game.
Oh, okay.
Which he'll never work on it again. Well, he'll work on it again when when his kids grow up. He said. That being said, I think that they've probably grown up by now, but still. But yeah, Phil Foglio, he's a great artist. I guarantee you've seen his stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was my introduction cons in a lot of places.
Joe. Magic art. That's Joe. That's Joe who got Teresa's name wrong. He got her name wrong at it. I was at the San Diego con, but she happened to also be at this con. I said, go say hi to her. Ask her where he is. And he's like, fucking shut up, dude. Just go over there and ask her. Do it all over again. Like, relive the past.
See, I was by Brad Geiger, I think, who does Evil Incorporated, the webcomic. I was by him in a con once. I was near Terry Moore once, to the point that, I definitely had far more Terry Moore fans at my booth than anything for me, so.
Right.
Yeah, like a bunch of small press people. I think Terry Moore's probably the biggest name that I've ever been sat near.
Yeah, I had that similar situation when I was sitting next to Mark Bagley, but he was really good about, like, people were sitting in front of my shit. I'm like, seriously? And he was super
Terry
cool
Moore,
about
so, yeah.
telling him, get the fuck away from his table. Kids, it's time you learn what your daddy does for pulls out a bunch of porn. I know. It's the fact that she said porno, it just shows her age. Mega Mario.
Yep.
Like, porno.
Yes, it shows my age.
Porno. It's when you add the O, 80s.
Yep. I'm Gen X and proud of it. Deal.
We were just happy that we made enough money to buy Taco Bell that night, our first con.
You're
feasted
damn right.
on the Taco Bell.
Oh God, yeah. My mother and I were talking about Taco Bell today over Easter dinner.
A lot of the commissions that you saw Scotty Young do back in the day, like the Poison Ivy and those really animated ones, he did at that con. A lot of them were at that con because we were like, okay, look at these amazing. Who's the guy? Scotty. I think that was out. I was like, shit, that dude's fucking. And I knew him from X-Men Unlimited issue 37.
Mm.
So I told you that guy was gonna be big.
Yeah, I think it was great. What are you doing?
Oh, dude, thanks for the kayfabe. Yeah, you should check out this guy's shit too, man. Jerk Comics, bro.
Definitely check out Jerk Comics. Worth it completely.
Yeah. His Kelly Jones interview, the Sam Keith stuff, brilliant.
Hell, the Shocker Toys thing he just did is amazing.
Oh yeah, the thing on Shocker Toys.
Shocker Toys.
Hello, hello.
Let's see. There we go. Ah. Pain in the ass. Yeah, you're on TV. No, do not chew on Mommy's hair. It's not nice. The joys of cat. My hair is a toy.
Speaking of cats, the neighbor from Alf passed away.
Oh,
Seinfeld's mom. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
She was also the Alf's neighbor that every time he tried to eat a cat, she would show up. Seinfeld played Seinfeld's mom.
Yep.
And she was 93. So.
Well, definitely had a good life. Oh, long life.
Could do worse. Could do worse.
God, yeah. This cat is actually the maximum weight I'm supposed to lift right now. He's about 15 pounds. That's the maximum weight I'm supposed to pick up right now. And he's purring. Yes, I love you. You're very cute. You're a cute little pain in the ass. He's got ragdoll on him. There's no doubt in my mind. Oh, God. Hmm. I like the base kind of shading choice you have on there with the. It makes it look like a mummy, like it gets old.
Yeah, I kind of worked at the bandages on the turtles piece. When they were
Hmm.
wearing bandages, I'm like, what is it? Because it needs like it has to have like. This is why I don't like markers because you can't get fluctuation. You just go, well, it's going to be this and that. Like you maybe get two colors out of it, and maybe a
Yeah.
highlight. But like my whole thing is, I like when you look into a piece, you can see more there.
Yeah.
So there's pink, there's a little green. You gotta be careful with color pencil that you don't rainbow every fucking thing. You
That's
could see
true.
some of the stronger color pencil artists out there. Like they'll start using a little bit of every color all the fucking time. And like I'm very aware that's an issue. So but with these lighter colors, there since it's got dirt, there should be a little bit of greens, a little bit of pinks, a little bit of blues, but it really has to be faint. Otherwise, because when you pull back, it kind of has a brownish look, but it isn't. It's not brown.
Right.
You could use brown, but it would just be one dimensional. So then what's the point? So,
Now, if you're working with colored pencil and you're, actively working with it, you should know how to distribute the color and everything.
just
Blend.
gotta be very careful about like just rainbowing everything. Once people go, oh, I can add this color, and you realize how to layer colors, then they start doing it too much. It's like you chill out with that, buddy. And like no matter how well I try to light around here when I'm doing this stuff, the camera really only picks up about 50 to 60%.
Right.
So like and it's hard to say what your monitor. Like I have like three different monitors I look at when I do this, and half of them are calibrated crappily, so I can just see is that what they're looking at. Like so, the I would always say like I do a pretty good job of getting very accurate colors onto the Instagram pics
Mm.
as best I can. So, like those are the closest I can because the cameras on the phones are so good now, that it picks up a lot of stuff that I can kind of adjust it and make it look. I try to make it look the way it is, you know,
Yeah.
not like I like it when people look at that and they're like, it looks even better. Like, I don't like it when they're like, oh, I see you filtered the shit out of your fucking pics. And I had that happen with, I won't say who it is, but I spent 300-400 bucks a few years back on a piece of art from an artist who was really big on Instagram. And I was like, just amazed with their work. And when I got it, I was like, oh, this has been there. It wasn't anywhere near. It's nice. It's good art.
Yeah.
It's
But
not what they're posting on Instagram, like by a long shot. Like I even showed Brad. I'm like, would you be mad? Because he collects art more than me. I'm
mhm.
like, I just want to know, would you be mad, Brandon, if this is what they showed? And I showed the pic, right? And he's like, oh
Mhm.
man, it's amazing. Then I showed what I had, and he was like, what? I'm like, would you feel ripped off a little bit? And he was like, 100%. I'm like, all right, just want to know if I'm wrong. You tell me.
Yeah, I probably would have felt that way too. With that type of thing.
I mean, I'll show you the thing someday. I don't know where that person's work, this particular piece is anymore, But I have the originals, I kept it. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
But they're still active, and it's like everyone's just like, oh, it's amazing. I'm like, it's. I just had to like unfollow because I was like, I don't know, you know.
Yep.
Otherwise, at least attach a
Unfolded.
yeah. If it's
Unadulterated.
that different, if it's a 20% different, eh. But this is a significant difference. It's like, yeah, I don't know about that.
Uh,
It's gonna be hard. Like, so when I was doing the saucies 10+ years ago, and that
it's
kind of
been that
took off
long.
on the internet. Yeah, I started doing that around 2010, and
Damn.
I did it in. I told you I did it as like I was mad at having to make everything perfect, like at
Yeah.
work, at game fan and covers and shit. And so like I was just I want something that's fucking ugly. So that's how that was born. But that kind of look took off, and a lot of people just recreate it with Photoshop textures these days.
Yeah.
Splatters and shit. But I'm
Yeah.
like, gonna have a hard time recreating this with fucking Photoshop textures. Like,
No, this is more. No, yeah, you're not gonna reproduce this easily with Photoshop.
I don't even know how you would. Like, you can do scribbles, but it doesn't quite come out the same way. So,
Uh, always what is it? I have to teach myself how to scan colored pencil art better.
oh, there's a lot of calibration that has to go into recalibration.
Yeah, so I
Like
figured.
once it goes in, it's fucked up. The best
Right.
thing you can kind of do is once you get into Photoshop is start with autocolor.
Mm,
Autocolor is pretty good. It gets you like 50% there, you know. But
mm,
then like you need to make duplicates of that and then use the color balance feature to bring in and adjust and
that
use
makes
color
sense.
balance is the best way. And then sometimes you have to go really saturated, like on the yellows because they won't pick up, and then airbrush them back in, like on a duplicate file. Like go really saturated, mask it,
Yeah,
black, and then airbrush back in.
then airbrushed it right
'Cause-
back in.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
I can see that.
these are color. What's it? Color fast? What's the word? They're like it's like watercolor. Like they reflect luminance.
Hmm.
So when that light on the scanner goes off, it's blowing them out. You know,
Yeah, they're
and the
translucent.
inform yeah. So like you have to kind of put it back in sometimes. So that's why when people are like, "Oh, is this gonna go up? It's gonna be a print." I'm like, "Yeah, eventually, man. Just chill out." Like I have to, once I scan it in, and I gotta ship them off. Then it takes me, it can take. Sometimes it could take, 15 minutes. Sometimes it can take 2 or 3 hours. There really is no rhyme or reason to like why that is. It's very inconsistent. So
Yep, I could definitely see that. That helps. Just thinking about having to have to rebalance everything, that makes a lot more sense.
unless you think like you somehow don't have like a magic scanner, like no one does. That's like Struzan's pieces are not scanned; they're photographed. Like
Right.
I have the raw photos, from
Yeah,
Lucasfilm because I stole them.
because you stole them.
Yeah, well, I figure fair trade. So
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I didn't get a bonus, so I'm taking the files. But those are that's lit evenly all around a giant room with a giant
Oh yeah.
camera. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
that's
It's completely
and
different. Yeah.
even yeah, it's a totally separate situation. Even then, they still have to do some contrasting when it goes to print because it's a little neutral.
Mhm.
It's beautiful work, but it's not as poppy as when you get it on that glossy cover.
Right.
There's a little trickery. Matter of fact, so it's funny. It's like I have the Calvin and Hobbes complete collection, right?
Yeah, I got
The
that.
landscape thing they did in 2005, and then I got all of his books. But I also
Mhm.
went and got the paperbacks and the hardcovers of whatever or library editions of whatever books are out there, just to see the difference in
Yep.
printing quality. And the complete Calvin Hobbes, I believe, is grossly printed incorrectly.
Well, I thought
the
the soft cover version was the best one.
The watercolors have a giant yellow tint.
Yep.
I don't know why that exists. Like, I don't understand what that is. Like, or why. I don't understand. You know, like, because there's no fucking way he printed all that yellow and then what were they supposed to do in 1988 to shift color around?
They
You
didn't.
know, like they didn't. So my guess is when went to print that the fucking the channels were incorrectly sept in 2005.
Yeah, they were.
So
They completely were because they didn't have that when they were first printed, and they have access to all of the originals. So
yeah, and I'm actually like bummed out because I look at it, I'm like, this is not the way it looks.
nope.
So my wife was like, why are you still picking up these other versions? I'm like, because this is incorrect. She's looking at me like, they are. They're incorrect. Here, I'll show you. She's like, all right, I don't care. I believe you. I don't care. You know?
No, but seriously, it's a thing. They're incorrect.
Yeah.
And I get that way. I drive my boyfriend nuts. So
Mr. Watterson should give a shit. I don't know. Or that maybe they really are. I mean, but then how would you? If something was super yellowy, it would have printed super yellowy back in the day,
it
right?
would
Like,
have.
there's just no,
Yeah,
there's
there's
no
no way they could
way.
have avoided it back then. I
I
mean,
mean, maybe in the mix, I don't know. Like,
we're talking the 1980s to the mid 1990s, mid 80s to mid 90s, that 10-year span.
I mean, they could use less percentages of a color, but it would have been across the whole image. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, it's not that in the case. Like this, the printer side of me goes, this shit's fucked up. You know, like this is a 2005 digital printing issue, but these are still being printed today. I don't know how. And his other editions are still being printed.
yeah,
So they're just using. My guess is they're cheap and they're just using the original files and never updating them.
they're not. They're not updating them because they're all at the. They were all of his original art was donated to that cartoon museum, where
So
it's all
what?
archived.
And there's no way to get a digital copy of the complete file. They don't sell that. So they sell some files, but they're not the complete edition. I
Right.
wish I could get a digital copy of the complete edition so that I could, I want to see the files. Like, but
Yeah. Same. No, I went looking for the digital copy of that soon after I had MS because it's hard for me to turn pages, and those books are heavy. So, but the one that I thought that was the best printing work was like the soft cover ones that weren't the highest quality as like the original like slipcase edition ones. I was like, okay,
actually, I think the library hard case edition of the authoritative Calvin and Hobbes is the best printed one.
hmm. Yeah, you might be right on that. I'd have to check mine again. All I know is I could kill somebody with those books. I've been heavily debating on going back to doing all of my sketch work and base comic stuff just on paper and taking pictures or scanning it and then working on it from there. So I got a really comfy chair I don't sit in enough.
Right.
My other thought was to do all the pencils digitally and then print them out and do all my inks and all that and scan it back in. That's a lot of work either way.
Yeah, it's always work.
Yeah. It's the one
You
thing you
know?
can't avoid. This always tends to be work. Why can't it just be easy? I won't tell anybody. Just let it be easy. I get to make 10,000 hour comments.
I don't believe in that.
I don't either.
That's where I differ from the kayfabe guys. They keep talking about your 10,000 hours. I'm like, you can just do 10,000 hours of bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, you know, like,
Yeah. No, I don't believe in that either.
doing something over and over again for the longest time and never getting better is totally possible. Like,
Yep.
just doing something isn't enough to get better. Like, you could learn nothing. I know plenty of artists that I've worked with in art departments. I've been there for almost 20 years before I started. Had learned nothing. Never got better, you know? Like, that
Yep.
doesn't, and they weren't intentionally doing that. They just didn't know how to, like, move forward.
Yeah. That happens. That is a fun piece that you're doing. I like it a lot. Is it? I think Jerk Comics is premiering that tonight for the non um,
Yeah, well, what I
Patreon.
did is I got tapped out on Patreons this past year, so um, I was gonna wait till next year to support him, but then he kicked me 40 for this, so I just gave it back to him about a year's worth of fucking. You know what I mean? Like if I put
Yeah.
15 more bucks in, I can get a year's worth in support. So he just got his money back on the Patreon.
Yeah. Well, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I don't tell him that. I just did it. You know, like there you go.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
Well,
prefer giving to a Patreon once for an annual versus monthly. You know, if possible.
I can understand that.
I'd rather spend 60 bucks and be like, there, you got your, we're good for a year. We'll reevaluate in 12 months. You know,
Get
because
you
I
a
like I
year.
don't like signing up to a Patreon and then like I think they should get that money for at least a year. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
So like
agree with you.
I don't believe like if you sign up and then you're gone in a month or two, it's just you want to give someone at least 12 months to fucking figure on the finances.
Yeah. Well, it's I subscribe to like 2 Patreons because I'm poor. Um, and I've been subscribing them for over a year each. They're worth every penny to me. They're both gaming related.
Which
Like
ones?
D and D. Tulak the
Oh,
Barbarian, and I need to look at the other one. Let's see. Got a friend request from somebody I don't know. Okay, that's my Patreon. Oh no, I just belong to Tulak now. That's right. I must cancel the other one. But yeah. I made $8 off my Patreon. I'm psyched.
I know people are like, "Why don't you do Patreon?" I'm like, "Oh, for what? You could teach people. You could just follow my YouTube and learn. Like I'm not teach you what I could be making things or teaching. Which one do you think I should be spending my time doing?"
Yeah, I'm doing a comic on my Patreon, so that's why I offered it.
I
What I'm
get
working on
that,
right
you
now.
know,
Yeah.
but I'm not currently doing that, so there makes no
Right.
sense for me.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't saying that for you. You do your thing, and yeah, it's fine. I mean, if you did a
People a lot of
Patreon,
the time are like, yeah, you know, you could teach. That's the thing, teach. I'm like, teach you what? Like, what am I currently doing now that you can't learn? I mean, the videos, there's 2,000 plus, like, it's like 2,000 videos on this YouTube channel. Most of them are real time, you know? Like,
yep.
I'm just struggling to, like, figure out, like, how that isn't enough. If you can't learn from that, then you probably shouldn't be doing this. Now, if you have
Well,
actual questions, feel free to ask. I'll answer them. But, like, if you were
like,
trying to really learn, like, put it this way, like, if you want to learn from Drew Struzan and he had 2,000 hours of him painting that you could just fucking watch any one of those videos all in real time. You couldn't learn from it. Something's wrong with you, right? Like
so they say, but yeah,
that's how I feel.
no, it's fine. I
You
get
know?
that. I learn by watching as well, and when I reached out to you for help, you gave it to me, and then I went back and I literally
Right.
watched like every video that you had on like sketch advice and everything, and then just watched a bunch of your long play stuff, and that's where I got for where I am. I still think
And
I have
people
a
are just
long way to go, but
yeah.
um, I often cite you as one of my major influences. So,
Yeah, I'm not talking about you. Just I get this a lot from
oh no, I
people,
know.
you know. So it's
I'm
just
just
like,
saying you
what
can
are they
learn from
saying? Like, other than
when
they just want specific lessons every week and syllabi. And I'm not doing any of that, like
yep.
because like I change my methods all the time. Like, I'm like, yeah, that worked last week. I don't do that anymore. Like it's happened. Even here, like, yeah, I don't do that. Why? I don't know. It don't work now. I don't really found a more
No, it's
efficient
not
way.
working for me right now.
Yeah. It's like the brushes I have up are not the brushes that I currently use.
Yep.
Like they change, and like, but those brushes are pretty good. You can get a lot done with those.
I like the
But
brush.
like,
I'm actually using one of them right now.
but
I fell in love with your Capullo 2H hard.
it's the closest thing to a real pen. I told you I got it right next. I got on top of Capullo's pencils. And I can't tell where that shit starts and stops. So,
Nope, I couldn't.
and
It's
I've
like,
tried every so-called pencil brush there is.
no,
And
I
that's
love
the
this
only
thing.
one that I'm like, when you put it right on top of real pencils.
Yeah,
So,
no, I love this thing, and I like your Calvin Smooth brush. I bounce around between a bunch, but those are the two of yours that I use the most. Like, I have a whole set, and I have my own I've made. So, I mean, I made a bunch of special effect brushes to make my life easier on certain things.
yeah, the kind of art advice I like to give is the kind you'd give at a convention. Short, concise, to the point. See you next year. Like,
Exactly.
buy something if you appreciate the words. But other than that, like, that's where we need to part. Like, because it's just not my thing. Some people have it in them. Like, I can't wait to be the teacher. Okay, not me.
You do you. Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. You do you. So, um, my martial arts instructor always said that, when you get to a point in your learning, you need to teach so you can learn more. And I found that to be true. But I don't know. You've helped me greatly. You offer advice pretty much whenever. So, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a far cry from like, and now pay me every month to do it.
Yeah, no, that's a very far cry from that. So,
Because some people they're just not gonna excel. Like that's the problem. Like you're not gonna just get better. Like you're gonna get better over time, but like it took me a long time to get better. Like it took you know it took me a long time. To start making things that I was like I like actually looking at. Took me a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it took me a bit. That comic I published a few years ago, that was the first time in a very long time I looked at my art and went, I really like this. I mean, I can go back and look at it now and see, like, oh, I screwed up here, I screwed up this and all that, but I still like it. So that's all that matters. I felt good about that. Really? What's up, buddy? He's telling me how it is. What? Here. One of these days, I want to change this stupid middle mouse, the middle button, the button on my stylus, so it stops turning into the damn uh, eye picker, the color
let's
picker.
say, what are you, Mac user?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Yep.
You got middle mouse button issues. I guarantee you, you're using a Mac.
Mm.
When they went to that whole one button thing, I'm like, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah. So I
Because
immediately
then
had a
all the
three button
third,
mouse.
yeah, but all the third party mouse things, it eventually just gonna get some conflict. Because the
Mm.
OS is always fighting.
Yeah. I hate that. I hate that thing. The single mouse button. What was the first thing you did with your Mac mouse? I threw it at somebody. I mean, I don't mind the keyboard. I keep it around. I actually use it because it's small. No, do not chew on my hair. You chase your brother.
I'm mixing warm and cool colors, which you shouldn't do, but this is advanced work, so I can do it. And I know why you shouldn't do it because I'm like, it's gonna take some effort, but
See, kids, don't ever do this. I'm a trained professional. I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm doing it anyways. So don't do it.
yeah, I know how to get myself out of this hole. But like, I wouldn't start with this one if I were you. Like I'm gonna make it look real easy. Go give it a shot, and then let me see what your results. You'll see. I got a few of those the past couple of weeks. People are like, I tried it. It's hard. I'm like, yeah, yeah, it is. But it just looks like you're just doing it. I know. I know.
Yeah,
Doesn't it?
yeah.
Doesn't it?
Just he's just doing it.
Yeah. I think part of it is like when I'm laying down these little like bits, like I just enjoy doing it,
Mhm.
and a lot of people don't. They want the result, and I actually just enjoy doing this.
Yeah.
So like, the result is the result is the result of doing this over and over for a long period of time.
No. You're mine. No. No. Yes, I knew that was coming. My cat knows how lucky he is that he's cute. Mm.
Yeah, we got Baxter face, feet, and tail, but they clipped too much of his beard off.
Oh.
So we'll have words about that when he goes to get his summer trim in June.
Mm.
Like, don't be doing that because they cut with his whiskers off, and I was like, now he's having trouble walking around and shit.
Yeah.
You know, like, don't do that. I just wanted the schnots like cut around certain things, but just wanted the schnotty hairs out the way. I didn't want the whole fucking thing off. So like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now I can understand that. I'm debating if I might get him a line cut over the summer, depending on how hot it is in my apartment. I mean, I run the AC pretty much 24/7 when it gets to a certain point because I don't have a choice.
yeah, he
Choice of
gets
MS.
schnauzer, he gets the scruffy hair, so he gets too warm. Doesn't matter if it gets 80 degrees in the house. He's fucking too hot. So I mean, I try to keep it like around, I don't know, 74. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But then he goes outside and just sits down because of the heat. So he won't even go to the bathroom. Like you gotta go, bud. Like you gotta do the thing. I know it's hot, but you gotta go.
Yep. I've like never drank this much Gatorade type stuff in my entire life. And it's the first time it's actually really tasted good.
No, my dad got me on that early in life. So I developed the taste buds for it.
Mm.
Because he was a medic in Vietnam, and so he was always like, "This is the stuff that blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "All right, it's full of sugar, but you do you do need the electrolytes when you're sick and shit, you know."
Yeah, the
I mean,
electrolyte stuff.
Pedialyte you can drink, but like that shit's fucking like bile.
Mm. Well, I went to was it whenever I'd get out of a concert or something like that, I would usually stop off and grab like a Propel or Gatorade or whatever. Um, and when I was getting ready for this operation, they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna want to have like Gatorade Zero, Propel Zero, any one of those around. Just you can't have the sugar ones. You can have the ones that have the wannabe sugar in it. Those ones will actually work for you."
Sugarless.
Yeah, but don't have the ones that have tons of sugar. That'll be bad.
You can go over this stuff with like lighter, warmer, or cooler, lighter colors, but it's very similar to glazing.
That yeah.
So the trick is to just use a light touch. And people go right to burnishing, or they smooth shit out. They're like, "I'll go grab a Q-tip and some Gamsol, and I'll come here and just blend it all together." And I'm like, and fucking, I don't know, you know. I'm
It's
not a
like
fan of like smooth paintings. So
no, I like it when it has like the texture to the paint.
everyone go, "Well, it's like life, it's smooth." I'm like, "What? What about life? Isn't smooth? What in nature's? I mean, other than
No,
pebbles,
nature is not
you
smooth.
know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
No, know what else nature hates? Straight lines.
which is why I don't use a ruler. I don't use perspective tools.
I do and I don't.
But it's one of the reasons why I just don't, because I'm like, I
Yeah.
just don't like to look. Unless it's like a samurai sword, I'll rarely ever bust that out. Like, because people freak if those things aren't straight. I'm like, well, I get the Japanese made this sword, so it should be a little perfect. But other than that,
Well,
it's
even that. I mean, I could pull down my sword and show the blade. They're not perfect, and I have a
yeah, but
handful of
people have
swords.
an people have a they have an impression of life, right?
That's
An
true.
expectation.
Yeah, because my sword is not one of the ones that you would just go and buy at the Army Navy surplus store.
I stress over the head areas, so I'll spend an inordinate amount of time on it, and everything else kind of. You get the little head area, or the head area. It's got a hood. You get that down, everything else falls into place. But people will forgive pretty much anything else. But if that
Hmm.
shit don't look fucking amazing, good luck.
Yeah.
A little pro tip: if you want something to appear darker without using black, use saturated colors, because the most saturated colors are the dark ones.
Yep.
So you can push something in by going with a saturated color, and then adding some darker version of that saturated color to the core of it. And that's how you can add hue to your shadows versus having lifeless black fucking shadows everywhere. And then when you do use black, the black's there to really create black. It's not just all over your fucking art. My wife had never seen Hot Fuzz until last night.
Oh,
Don't ask me how that happened.
that's weird.
I just found that out. I'm like, what?
Guess
And
what
she
we're
was like,
watching?
there's so many Game of Thrones people in here. I'm like, there is. Yarp.
Yep. It's a fun movie. I forget who it was. It was somebody I was talking to yesterday, and oh yeah, we were talking about Tony Jaa, and mentioning that. Oh yeah, he was a villain in one of the Fast and the Furious movies, and I'm like, I still haven't seen any of the Fast and the Furious movies.
I mean, the first one's like a Limp Bizkit remake of Point Break, right?
Yeah,
So it's fine. I thought it was fun,
I don't
dumb
have a problem
fun
with
when
that.
it came out. It was dumb fun when it came out. It's got a cool PlayStation cameo in it. So um, it pairs nicely with hackers. So there you go. So
The scary thing about hackers is it actually teaches you how to computer hack.
sneakers
It
is
tells
better.
you actual
War
things.
games is actually better, but
Yeah. Oh, War Games is
that's
far better.
yeah. But the guy who wrote War games wrote sneakers. You know that?
Yeah, and the people who wrote hackers were actual hackers.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Mitchnick
Mm,
was a
I
huge
know.
contributor on it and stuff.
Use your person. I'm God. Okay. So, all right. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
I mean, it's goofy and oh, none of that shit works anymore, but it's funny in the sense that it's like, oh, this doesn't show you. Actually, it does tell you how to do it. It just doesn't show you what it would look like or anything of that nature. But War Games is the War Games and sneakers are much more authentic in that sense to the time frame. I mean, sneakers actually used something that people believed existed at one point. That box that could hack anything. Oh, the NSA has something that's kind of like that. Doesn't work as quick. But yeah, that's just one of the funny things about the movie Hackers is it references actual hacking. Oh, some of the techniques would still work today because hacking is mostly social engineering, but it's yeah, for the most part it's all dated. It was dated then when it came out. Oh, the fact I had reference to the coloring books.
Be honest, the best version of hacking ever put to cinema is Weird Science. Totally believable.
Oh yeah, that one's completely believable.
Nice
Just have
3D
a couple of
interface.
guys put some
What?
bras in their heads and make a
Yeah, nice
girl.
3D interface. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just take the right pipeline. You're good to go.
I loved war games. I watched that a lot when I was a brat. We'd just gotten cable or something, and it was on like HBO constantly. That and Raiders of the Lost Ark. One of my favorite things to do with people when they would say, ask about like computers, the way computers are used in movies and stuff. I point to Jurassic Park with the little girl when she's like, "This is a Unix system," and I'm like, "How believable is it?" And it's an actual Unix system that she used. I mean, it was a test. It wasn't something that was ever put into production or anything, but it's an actual GUI that she used for a Unix system that they
Yeah, but
used.
no one ever put GeoWorks on the film. You
No,
know,
they didn't.
people don't even know what GeoWorks is mostly.
No.
But would
But
have
I
been
just found
nice.
it funny that it's like, oh, like people's like, that's not what Unix looks like. I'm like, actually, in this one case, it is. But yes, for the most part, you're right. Unix does not look anything
I
like
had to explain to my wife what a Cray machine was.
that.
I'm like, then we're watching Sneakers. Like that right there. See what they're sitting on? That's a Cray machine. She was like looking
Yeah,
at me. I'm like, now let me tell you about the Nintendo 64. And she just doesn't want to hear it. Just doesn't want to hear it. You know.
that's awesome. Uh, I've never met your wife. I would love to meet her at some point just to understand the person that married you.
And she's normal.
That's what I mean. Because you're not, and I'm definitely not. So then there's Brandon. We'll leave it at that. I think I scared Brandon. No, that's funny. I'd love to meet your wife. Yeah, she's normal. Does she watch any of your art streams or anything?
No.
No.
all this stuff sort of looks alike to her. And she just like, you know, I mean, she's, I would, I'm proud of what I do, I guess, but like, what's there for her to watch, you know?
Fair.
Uh,
This is curious. Cloak's getting kind of a Dr. Doomish feel. Oh, speaking of like TV shows and stuff like that, did you watch the thing about Pam?
nope.
I highly recommend it.
I watch a lot of anime, so
Well, fair.
like,
I can't argue with that. So,
I just if I have to choose, if I'm watching TV, 8 times out of 10, it's gonna be animated, and it's probably gonna be anime. So,
well, I
or a
can't
Marvel
argue with that.
show. If it's not, it's probably Marvel or you know.
Yeah.
There's an occasional series that catch my attention, like Ted Lasso did.
Hmm.
Um, but I generally don't like a lot of American television.
I generally don't either. It's one of the reasons I don't have TV service. I was over at my mom's for lunch, and she's like, "Have you seen this show?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "It's really good. Just sit down and watch the first episode." And I'm like, "This is really good."
I'll look at it.
It's Renee Zellweger's in it, and it's taken from a true event. This murder that happened back in like no 2011 or something like that. It might have been 2012, whatever. It happened like 10 years ago. Um, and it was so screwed up of a case that you're just like, how is this? How did this happen? And
Yeah, no, I've
the
seen too much.
TV show
Like,
doesn't take that many liberties. Actually, they had one of the lawyers on who was part of the case, and he goes, "No, they pretty much got it right." So,
the last one I sat through was the Robert Durst one. He just
that was
gets
good.
on camera murdering people. I'm
Yeah,
like, there you go. You know?
yeah, that was on HBO. That was a good one.
Yeah.
They just released a new thing with Robert Durst. I
Well,
haven't
he's
watched
fucking
it yet.
dead, so,
Yeah,
will it be selling off his fucking entire estate to the victims? I don't fucking know.
I have no idea.
Piece of
This
shit.
is a documentary thing on. I haven't watched it yet, but I did watch the thing about Pam, and oh my god, was that it's
I normally
described.
would watch murder shit when I would travel. So like that sort of thing I'd watch on the road. Murder porn. But at
Yeah,
home, yeah. So I'll put it on my list if I'm ever on the road.
yeah.
Like the Ted Bundy one I enjoyed.
Oh,
The
the Ted Bundy
actual
one was
one
good.
with the tapes, the audio tapes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Watching him simp for the Republican Party in the 70s, which they never bring up.
Nope.
Like an idiot ass Democrat. It's like, why don't you just he's looking like Tucker Carlson. He's murdering people. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like why don't you just go?
Hmm.
Fucking cowards, fight back.
Yeah, we got some bad people in the political party, but you guys had Ted Bundy.
They don't bring it up. They never like these fucking people.
No, they don't. Yeah, I'll get too annoyed thinking about that, but yeah. I still have to talk to Jason about when he wants to do that ghost hunting thing. Brought it up a few times to him, and nothing's ever happened. So,
yeah, I'm sure he means well, but then you gotta actually do shit. And then he's like, yeah. I'm not gonna speak for him, but we seem to be a little bit alike in some ways, like in some creative ways. And I'm like, I think that he really wants to, but then the reality of like doing stuff,
Yeah,
because
well,
it's
it's
like
fun.
I've talked him into doing shit, and then he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, you know. And you said you want, I know, okay, then I'll bring it up again. I get the same way. Like some people get like, I thought you said you were. I'm like, I totally felt like that at the time, and now I want a burrito.
Oh God, do I want a burrito right now?
No, I only have a burrito when I get my hair cut, and I had to pass on getting my hair cut this month because the day of, the fucking owner of the shop got COVID, decided to come into fucking work and not tell anybody. And so my
Joy.
buddy was like, "Yeah, we need to wait 2 more weeks so we can all clear." And I'm like, "Great." He's fucking pissed.
Yeah, I like Jason though. He's a good guy.
Hmm.
Yeah, every time making Star Wars comes on, I'm like, oh, I should watch that, but I'm in the middle of doing 3 other things.
I was doing Captain Crunch impersonations the past couple days.
Oh my God.
So.
I'm sure that went over well.
Yeah. Well, he played this video of Captain Crunch commercial where they were selling Willow shit.
I remember
Captain
that.
Crunch. Yeah, and so I started doing Captain Crunch voice. Can't do it right now, but I was
Yeah,
in the zone, and so I was just
that's awesome.
laying down the Captain Crunch jokes. People are just like, just shut him up. No one can stop the no one can stop the crunch. Like the grimace.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing can stop the grimace. Best line in the Clerks cartoon. Nothing can stop the grimace.
It's not about spaceships. I swear I keep drawing this cloak and it keeps getting longer. So how much redrawing of Kelvin knobs did you do when you were trying to figure out some of the his inking style?
Not much more than what you've seen.
Huh.
I haven't really held much back. Just really, it's just doesn't take me because of the t-shirt work. It doesn't take me long to figure out. The trick is, can I do it every time? Can I get
Right.
there? That's what I'm more concerned. Like, kind of this year, do I understand what I'm doing, or was that like a fluke?
Mm.
So anytime I'm trying to figure out what like a style, it's not. It has to be reproducible on page 12. It has to be the same on page
Yeah.
15. So like not much. I spent more time just tweaking brushes, and once it kind of like worked out, like then I was okay. This is a good approximation. Then I can kind of make it my own in there, so you see it, but it's not a 1-to-1.
Right.
But I mean, like that Tyrannosaurus Rex wasn't that hard to make, the inked one,
Mm-hmm. I like
and
that
that's
one. That
pretty
was cool.
close. I mean, it has my own thing in it. It's not a 1-to-1, but you have a hard time telling the difference to the average person.
Right.
The watercolor shit was even a little bit easier, but that's because like I've done so much watercolor, I kind of know how it's supposed to look, you know.
Right.
And I had already sort of worked out the brushes on and off for the last 4 years. Like I would just every now and then, if you go back on my timeline for like since 2016, you'll see a little watercolor test, like a little thing, and then I'll be like, I don't know how I. Then I wouldn't do it for like 6 months or so, and then come back and do another one, and then I'd be like, I don't know how I did that, and so I just kept doing it until I knew how to do it over and over again.
Mm.
And so the first 4 or 5 years ago, it would take like 4 or 5 different brushes and tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. Now it's just like three, and mostly
Mm-hmm.
two. Like it's mostly two. So like, but that's because I didn't. I won't say like that's why I told you I don't believe the 10,000 hours. I think there's a point, and it's different for everyone, where your mind makes sense of what you're trying to do,
Right.
and it's different for everyone. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. The people that it happens faster for are effortless. There's some people, they're born with that thing where they can just do shit,
Yeah, I'm not that
with
person.
very little. Me neither. Like this is the closest thing. The coloring with color pencils is the closest thing to any natural. Like I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't right now. I'm like, I don't know. This makes sense to me, and that color makes sense to me. I don't have any plan. You
Yeah.
know. Um, but what I like doing is that I don't know. But I seem to know how to make it work. So everything else takes a lot of fucking effort. A lot of
Okay.
effort. Like if this took a lot of effort, given how long it takes, I would never even bother.
Mm.
Because you can't add time on top of it. Like time and effort, that's not a good combination. So
No.
drawing takes the most out of me. Like, nothing about drawing is easy or simple.
No, it's not.
No, the real trick is going to be, can I make the watercolors work across a whole piece with multiple characters? And so I'm going to give it a shot with the Power Rangers. And if it's not working, then I'll just delete it and do my Berserk Boy style colors with them and be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to try to get the watercolor thing to work because, like, there's a simplicity to it, but then there's also this part where I want it to have like a little bit of those, like, kind of like what I was doing with the sequential Bill Watterson color, whereas like I added like lighting to certain parts that
Right.
is Photoshop. It's like on top of, so it's this what you had before plus
Mm-hmm.
something, and it's not competing, but it doesn't, it pushes it forward a little bit. So the Donatello was an experiment to see if I can make that work on some level. We'll see. I do not know.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of it.
Yeah, it could be a colossal fucking failure, but that's fine. I mean, it's digital, so I can just do something else.
True.
All I wasted is time.
Yep. The joys of digital art, where I can just delete the layer and do it again. Yeah, that was loud.
Just getting there. I got about 30
Yeah.
more minutes before I'm gonna hang it up. I got to make dinner and I'm gonna go see everything, everywhere, blah 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 tonight. So,
Hmm.
there's an 8 o'clock showing on Eastern. No one's in the theater, so I'm like, that's the perfect time to go.
Yep.
You know.
Oh, definitely. Oh, that'd be cool. Tell me how the movie is.
I already know it's amazing. Like I'm 90 fucking 9.99% certain of it. So the creators of that were originally hit up to do Loki, and they
Yep.
passed to go do this. So super exciting.
Yeah, it should be good. At least I hope it is.
No, I've used no black yet.
Yeah, no, I
Since
noticed.
so like this is where you use black to really push things and pull things forward. Like
Yeah, you're popping out the character from basically all the color you did now.
try to hold off on that as far long as I can. So
Good morning.
hey, what's up? Those goggles, let me get the goggles done.
What's wrong, buddy? I know. You're hungry. No, I know this. You're breathing.
This place called La Mai Thai Food. It's this little food stand. It's one cook, Noi, and she's from Thailand. Like she spends half her time there helping out children. Like so you have like a donation box, and then she gets all of her ingredients and ships them back from Thailand. So
That's awesome.
and then she helps the kids and buys all and teaches them how to cook and buys them shoes and all sorts of shit. It's the best Thai food I've ever had. She's the only cook, so like we bought yesterday, but we always get an extra. extra thing of pad thai. So for the next day for me, so I'm gonna get full up on some pad thai.
Fantastic.
And, yeah, so I'm just for the past few years, like I've tried to enjoy her food before she disappears, and you know what I mean, like retires or something. But when she was out there, like she's a world-renowned chef, man, because she hangs out with like she actually went and did some more training in other different Thai kitchens and stuff, and like Michelin star kitchen. Like she's super good. Like I'm like I don't know
That's
how.
all.
And she yeah she's sitting in Nampa, Idaho. Like it's I'm thankful for that. But like it's super odd, but it's really great.
Yeah, there's a Thai food restaurant that I go to with some of my friends, and it's owned by a woman named Crystal. It's called Crystal's Kitchen, and it is some of the best Thai food I've ever had. I know exactly the kind of feeling that you have. Whenever I go there, I always bring something else home.
So like they sell knickknacks that the elderly folks make. For someone
Hmm,
bought some wind chimes this time. Or just pick something up.
that's good.
Some of this purple in here around that bloom line there. And that'll create a nice little pop.
Yeah, my friend Angela, she's like, I'm talking to her. I'm like, yeah, as soon as I have the chance to go back to Crystal's, we're definitely going. And she's just like, we could go now and you could have egg drop soup. And I'm like, that is so true and tempting. I'm really craving his Indian food though.
Yeah, we have some Indian places, but I just make my own. Like I can make better than whatever they're serving out here. So whatever they're serving in the locals is bullshit. Um,
I would get some good Indian places around here, really authentic style stuff.
I'll just make magni chicken and naan from scratch and be like, they're done. You know, I can do it too. You
That is
know,
awesome.
like I am working on a deep, like a fried. I don't do a lot of fried foods, but there is a fried cauliflower dish I'm working on. So that you would fry and you crumb it similar to how you would for like a kung pao or something like with panko and stuff like this cauliflower.
Hmm,
Super good.
I'd eat it. Then again, I'm a foodie, so I'll try anything.
Thank you.
I like how those goggles are. They look fun. I like how you're outlining with the black to pop it.
Yeah, you can use a zebra. Sometimes I'll use a zebra.
Hmm.
What do you call it? Ballpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it was oil based.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it long enough to where I have some of them when they're 12 years old. They don't fade. So,
Yeah.
um, but I have been able to get pretty good results without having to go there. But
Mm-hmm.
if I wanted another level, I could throw that down. You can also do a little push with ink a little bit sometimes. Like once it settles, you can kind of push the blacks if you really want. I guess to get this shit pretty sharp.
Peter's a machine right now. He's been doing like a 120 something page book he needs to have done at like the end of this month or like mid next month or something. Uh,
Ain't taking those jobs. Work.
yeah, he's getting paid, so and he's liking what he's doing, so can't complain.
He's happy. Always where it sucks when you gotta do it under protest. 'Cause the money, I don't care how much they pay. It's rarely like at some point you're like, I need sleep. And if you're not like super into it, then
Yeah, he's pretty into it, so he is gonna slow down after this, like after a bunch of the projects that he's doing. I mean, aside from the one that we're going to be doing together, he's basically just going to focus on his own stuff. Well, that worked good. You're using that with a fairly light touch because you're Do you,
I'll
you
do a
know?
little burnishing.
Okay.
A little bit, just to push it.
Yeah, no, I see it. All right.
But you see it'll pop it forward, you know.
Yeah.
But when you're up close, you can still see the colors underneath. It really is something that, like, when you see it up close, it's like, yeah, how did I know? I know it's got
Mm.
tapping. It's crazy. It's crazy. I got so used to liking it that I'm like, I just don't want to do anything else. So,
Oh, John DeMonte here is hi master.
hey, what's up, John?
Oh, Sensei Rob, Sensei Sketchcraft. Sketchcraft is the master of cartoon art. Well, I can't argue that.
No, I am not. Let's
Andy's
say
humble.
pretty good. Pretty good. Let's
Pretty
go with
good.
pretty good. Let's go with pretty good. You can also burnish from back here. You don't have to get up close. And when you get back here, you can roll and get a lot of the side and kind of fill in
Yeah.
to the layer. So you're not like killing your knuckles.
Mm. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, when you first did your varnishing, I was a little surprised because I thought you would be doing it more from the back. But I mean, it worked. So
Sometimes I get up there. Well, the more saturation you want, generally you want to hold closer. The
yeah,
less
yeah,
you want to hold back.
yep, yeah, it makes sense.
Like I said, I sort of really stress about the head area, so this hood gets a lot more attention than the rest of it. The rest of it will get done pretty quickly.
Well, I mean, the upper body looks like you've mostly completed. I can see you noodling a bunch of things for a bit and doing some finer details, but that head is looking awesome.
It changes like pretty quick once you start popping stuff out, you know.
Yeah,
So, but
it's a very fun looking piece.
thanks. And because I put blue in and around them, I can come over and kind of do a little popping with some color versus just always the black.
Mm,
So like that's the benefit to like if you layer in a little bit of these colors without rainbowing the shit out of the piece, you can use the other colors versus
yeah.
all black. And it means the black will still pop forward, but you can. And then I'll continue the rest in the morning. I gotta finish this tomorrow because I got to really focus on the Power Rangers piece. And then when I get the Power Rangers, when I get all the lines done I want to get the lines done for the first piece and the second piece, and then I'm
Mm.
gonna go do those scuds. I got 2 scuds to do,
I was looking forward to seeing you do those too.
and then I'll ink the Power Rangers piece, and then I have 11 by 14 Apocalypse to do for a buddy.
Yeah, you were showing me some ideas you were doing with that. That looked like it could be fun.
Yeah, I don't know about the word thing. I was experimenting with it. I don't have
Mm.
that down, but I'm gonna just draw him a piece, you know. But that's an idea that might take me a few years to kind of like, because it's like I go and try it with different things and it didn't work. So it's like it
Yeah.
it's very specific. Like so I have to think about it. Before I go and spend 10,000 hours making like no I won't. I'll just spend I'll let it sit in the back of my head. In the back of my mind will do the work while I do other shit. Because I left this open, I can do a little texturing that adds like expression, I guess, without
Mm.
words.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what you call it. Yeah, I do recommend the anime ranking of kings though. It looks like it's like one part Dragon Quest, one part Ponyo, and then Game of Thrones.
Hmm.
Like you look
What
at it, oh,
anime
this
was
looks
it?
like it's for kids. It's called Ranking of Kings.
Okay.
Um, I'll warn you, the one that's on Crunchyroll is the fucking Russian. It's dubbed or all subbed into other languages. So you got to go find the rips to get the fucking subbed English because it's on Funimation. Ah, it's fucking weird. I don't know why. So I pay for Crunchyroll. It should be on there. It is, but it's in a weird version. So
Yeah, there's a
um,
Funimation version of it too.
yeah,
Ranking.
this is, for some reason Funimation hasn't put the dubbed or the subbed version in English on
That's weird.
Crunchyroll. Yeah, don't get me started. But fantastic. Just watch the first 4 episodes. They're 20 minutes. They're short. Just watch it,
Yeah.
and you'll be like, yeah, I think I know. It's just oh shit. I can't believe I just saw that. Like,
Oh, I'll have to check that out. It looks fun. Yeah, I kind of like the art style.
oh, believe me, the animation is superb. You've never seen anything quite like it. But it just, I told you, there's this real dark side to the story. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. But super good.
Well, that definitely works. Uh, yeah, we're closing in on 8 o'clock my time. I think I'm gonna bail.
Yeah, I'm heading out of here. Well, thanks for hanging out.
No problem. Thank you, and can't wait to see the finished piece.
Yeah, me too. So I don't have to do it no more.
Exactly. I'll talk to you later, Robbie. Have a good one.
Later.
Bye.
he just add his little eye pieces, and then I'll be back on tomorrow, folks. I'll be coloring all day until this is done. So this is the only real tricky part, is the face. The face in the comic book are gonna be a little weird. Not weird, but just tricky. I don't know if I like that. I'll let that dry. I can scrape it right off. The eye dot I like. The two other pieces, not so much. Oh, no. A little weird right there. Okay. Scrape it off lightly. At some point, there's not much more you can do, though. You do get to the point where you're like, well, that's about as far as that can go. Better luck next time. Great. That was fun. This is my first time to see stream. Really admire your work, and I'm surprised that you do it traditionally. Thought it was digital. I do a mix of everything, but the color pencil work is 100% traditional. You know, so I did the original lines digitally, printed it out, inked it, and this is going to be a traditionally colored piece. But I can do digital colors as well. Depends on what I'm doing. You know, when I do commissions and stuff, I prefer to do color pencil work. You know, a little bit of both, a little bit of both, right? And if you keep doing a little bit of both, eventually you can make it so your digital work looks a lot like traditional work, you know? Like they embody features of both, so you don't have to. You just start utilizing similar techniques. One, as I like to say, one informs the other. So super appreciate it. This is gonna get some cool like glows going around it towards the end. So I try not to do it right now, but then it'll really help pop the piece forward even more than it is now. But thank you for hanging out and for saying hello. Always appreciated. I will pick this back up in the morning, like around 5 a.m. my time is when I'll start. And then I want to wrap this all up tomorrow. So, luckily, this is a character with a lot of similar colors. So, thank goodness. That's going to be a pain. Um, Other than that, it's not going to be too hard. I definitely have to get going. I got to go make dinner. I got to go movies. And I will mask up in case you're wondering. I'll be wearing a mask in the movie theater. So I got to eat before I go. Because, I've got a full stomach when I go see a movie. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. Peace.